Okay, this screencast is a read aloud. This week we are trying a research simulation thing, and we're gathering ideas all through the week, and then we're going to write on Friday. So we are trying to decide whether we should break up summer vacation, not have less or more vacation, but instead of having an 11-week break in the summer, to break that into smaller breaks, four 4-week breaks throughout the year. And so in the previous video, we did a Google search, embedded sources, and now we're gonna go through one each day, and look for evidence that we can use to make the argument that we eventually will believe is the right one. And right now, we're not worried too much about which side we're on, because if we find ourselves convinced by our reading, we want to be able to, say, first I was felt this way, but now I understand that I feel this way. All right, the case against summer vacation, and this is from Politico.com, and which we vetted already in the previous screencast. The Case Against Summer Vacation by Bridget Ansell, July 14th, 2014. Summer is upon us, and with the warmer days comes a hearty dose of American nostalgia. Nostalgia there means looking back at the past and saying, "Oh, things were so much better then." It's a feeling of sadness, but real slight sadness that people like. We still romanticize this most cherished of all seasons as a time of lingering twilight, barbecues, and new romance. Or pull yourself up by your bootstrap culture even accepts our pull yourself up by your bootstrap culture even accepts summer's carefree laziness, clinging to the bygone days of childhood when we would wake up early to meet friends in order to do, well, absolutely nothing. Okay, so she is starting by saying that everybody has these ideas about summer that they love, um, and part of it is about being lazy. Um, those times were undoubtedly blissful. Full of bliss means wonderful, which is why my 10-year-old self would be appalled at what I'm about to argue. Summer vacation is bad for kids and for America's economic future. We need to end it, or at the very least provide stimulating summer enrichment for those who can't afford it. Okay, appalled. The 10-year-old would be appalled. And so she's going to argue summer vacation is bad for kids, and her 10-year-old self, meaning herself in the past, would be appalled, which means disgusted and horrified. Um, so now here she's saying that she thinks summer vacation needs to be changed for the good of kids. Okay, so we have her argument. So she's going to be presenting arguments for why she believes that's true. Now we can't take her opinion because who the heck is Bridget Ansell? I mean, I'm sure she's a brilliant woman, but we can't. She's not an expert. She's writing an essay for us. We're going to look at her arguments and see if we agree with them. And if we do agree with them, then we can use them too, as long as we make sure to give her credit for them. The 9-month, 180-day school year is not a relic of our agrarian past, as many wrongly assume. Agrarian means farming, so she's saying that um, most people think that we have a 180-day school year and 3 months off in the summer is because we used to need it for farming, which is what I thought too. So this might be interesting in correcting it. But rather, the legacy of a bygone era when spending hours inside a sweltering, air conditioning free classroom, or office for that matter, was implausible. So she's saying that the real reason we have 3 months off in the summer is because it used to be far too hot in classrooms to put up with. Although most industries eliminated the summer furlough with the advent of temperature controlled buildings, school boards have retained schedules that are stuck in the past with serious consequences for America's children. Okay, she's saying that once we could control the temperature in buildings, businesses said, well, we're not going to quit during the summer. We're going to make money all year round. But schools, for some reason, didn't do that. Once school is out for the summer, the opportunity for children to engage in educational activities of any kind decreases. Studies show that, on average, students lose about a month's worth of instruction as measured by standardized test scores. Okay, good. So this is ammunition for us, right? Studies show that, on average, students lose a month worth of instruction as measured by standardized test scores. I'm going to want to highlight this and make sure that I save it for later. But not everyone is average, and as the 2011 Rand Corp report finds, summer learning loss disproportionately affects poor students who already begin school behind their more affluent classmates. Now, there's a lot of tough words in there. Disproportionately means more than fair, and in this case, and affluent means rich. Affluent means you have a cash flow, um, and so it's saying that summer learning loss is worse for poor kids. Research shows that any high quality summer program that keeps children engaged, whether it's a traditional camp, summer school, or even frequent trips to the museum, can mitigate summer learning loss. Okay, so it says that kids that have access to good summer programs, um, summer learning loss is mitigated, which here we can guess means it's reduced. So the kids that are able to do this stuff in the summer keep more of what they learned during the school year. But kids that can't, then won't. I'm gonna infer that's their point. The problem is not everyone can afford to send their kids to a fancy summer program. And there we have her point, right? That's true. That means low income children, exactly the children that could benefit most from such programs, cannot afford to participate. Meanwhile, in a world in which most children grow up in a household without a full time caregiver, low income parents not only struggle to find full time care, but also must divert large, there's a typo, of their limited salaries to pay for it. Worst of all, this loss is cumulative, with serious consequences as the achievement gap widens every summer. Carl Alexander, a Johns Hopkins University sociologist, tracked 650 children in the Baltimore public schools, recording their scores on the California Achievement Test in June and again in September after the summer break had ended. Alexander found that the poorest kids outlearn their wealthier peers in terms of knowledge gained during the academic year, but during the summer months they fall further behind. In contrast, the wealthier children, aided by a home full of books, organized summer camps, and concerted cultivation type parenting, continue to develop their skills. Okay, so she really sort of just puts one argument out there, but it seems like a really good one that we might be able to use. This seems really important too, that that it's a great fact from a study that we might want to quote if we decide that we do want to break up the things and make the breaks shorter. Okay, so we read the thing. We read it with a purpose, with a digital highlighter in our hands, and we found a couple of facts that we might want to use depending on which side we end up on. If we end up on the other side, we might want to know those anyway, so we can deal with them in our essay. All right, I hope that was helpful.